Hello, everybody. Happy March 31st. I can't believe it is the last day of Q1 for 2022. Hopefully, you're having a great day and a great week. I know it's spring break here for a lot of our schools in Michigan. So if you are watching this on the replay because you were traveling in someplace awesome, hello, and thank you for tuning into the replay. But if you are like I am at the office and tuning in live, let me know that you're here. I'd love to say hello. You can go ahead and just put your name in the chat and any comments you might have along the way or any questions. So I'm just setting up the PowerPoint here. Make sure I can share the right thing. Let's see here. Share screen. Okay. So, hello and welcome to our live video on sending your first email in 15 minutes or less. This is one of my favorite presentations that I love to discuss with people as we are taking a look at how to improve sales, things for the rest of the year. So we're through the first quarter. If your sales aren't where they need to be, email marketing is going to be a big solution that's really going to benefit you. So today we're actually going to be talking about two things. Okay, we're going to be talking about the 7 essential elements that you need to have to design an effective email campaign. And then we're also going to discuss how to really write your emails to get your readers to take an action. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about, I'll reference a reusable template that you can just add in content for your campaign. I use Constant Contact, and I'm just going to ask Elizabeth to go ahead and post a link to the chat that I sent her earlier. So if you would like to try Constant Contact for 60 days for free, please feel free to use my link. If you use my link, I do offer you an hour of free training and will help set up your Constant Contact. But email marketing is so important. It doesn't matter what you use. If you're using Kajabi, if you're using MailChimp, if you're using Constant Contact, Emma, Exact Target, any of those all work well. And it's really just about making sure that you're getting content that's going to your subscribers and getting to the inbox and going to help you grow. So let's go ahead and jump in to the 7 elements of email design. Okay. So, again, I've talked to you several times about email marketing and its importance, but I want to talk to you about these elements because these ensure that your email looks like your brand, and it includes details that encourage your audience to take action. Most of my clients, we set up a master template similar to something like this, so that they can create consistently great looking emails in a really short amount of time. You save time because in using a template and emphasizing these components, you can really just sort of plug and play for each campaign. Okay. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what you'd change. But, in the header, there is the pre-header, which is the second chance at a subject line. You want to set your logo in colors. You want to match your existing branding. You don't want to be changing your colors every email or every piece of communications that you do. I believe in creating some image standards for yourself. Of course, you got a message body, a call to action, and then the footer. And the footer has some required stuff in it, but it also has a lot of great information on how people can get in touch with you. So let's go ahead and see what you would be changing on a regular basis. So when we build templates for my clients, we give them this master template as a starting point, and then they're actually able to plug and play by changing the subject, adding a pre-header, adding an image, adding their message, and then changing or adding a link. I mean, that's really all there is to it to be able to send consistently branded emails. Okay. So let's talk about the elements of the header that we were just talking about, right? A lot of people think that the header is not that important to design, but it is the first thing that people see in their inbox. And they have such a short period of time to go ahead and decide whether or not they're going to open it or delete it. So you really want to grasp the reader's attention and get them to open your email. People are making, I think you have like a second or 2 seconds. It used to be 3, but I think it's gone down from there. It's like 0.3 of a second or something insanely quick. So, again, this is the information that shows up first for your contacts. So ideally, you want to have the from name and the from email address to be something that's recognizable. Okay. You want to stick with that same from name and from email, be consistent, because it will allow you to keep some consistency and not be confusing for your readers. This one is an example from Constant Contact, and it's Southside Cycling. And you'll see the from name is Southside Cycling. And then the email address is bikes@southsidecycling.com. The information is really easily recognizable to their subscribers. Now, let's talk about why this is important. Okay. This is an email from Susan Grant. Easy peasy shopping opportunity. Who's Susan Grant? What would you do if you don't know who she is? Okay. Feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear. But again, a lot of people will say things like delete it, mark it as spam, put it in my junk folder. This is why the from information is so, so, so important for you. Okay. People work with people that they know, like, and trust. People open emails from people that they know, like, and trust also. And, again, that's important. Okay. Now, Susan Grant may be a great choice if people know who she is. My emails come from Kendra Corman because hopefully you know who I am. But if they were more familiar with the business, like H2H Consulting, then I would want to list it as H2H Consulting instead of Kendra Corman. It really just depends on your branding and where things are. Then you have the reply to email address. Okay. So that's where people are going to reply, which is always good. Usually the from and reply email are the same, but sometimes you need to send it over to somebody else that's going to take a look at it. And then we've got the subject line. Okay, subject line, 4 to 7 words to show up correctly on mobile, which is really important. You want to potentially ask a question. Constant Contact just rolled out this amazing subject line tool. I've actually used it a couple of times and it's really, really cool. But the subject line and the from name and the from email address are the 3 things that people look at when they're trying to decide whether or not to open an email or mark it as trash. Okay. I usually write my subject line after I've written my email so that way I know what it's about, because sometimes I'm writing on the fly, but you can also brainstorm a bunch of ideas before you publish. And then pre-header text. I call this the second chance at a subject line. Okay. So it's right below the subject line, especially on mobile. It's really, really important. And it just entices them a little bit more to open your email because you have so few items that it's really important. Now, moving on to the branding piece. You want every email that you do to look like your brand, okay? Most people will put their logo in the top left or the center, and it should be clickable to your website. You want people to be able to convert if they want to use that. Now, you also want to use your brand colors. So you should have hex values for your brand colors. If you don't, I'll make a note to give you the plugin that I use for Google Chrome. I think it's called Color Picker, and it'll literally let me find the hex values for any color on any website, which is a very cool tool that comes in handy pretty easily. But the logo and the brand colors, that's going to be really important because that's the consistency that represents your business. Then once you've set up your template with the branding elements, you're going to want to select a compelling image. Okay. So the compelling image is important, right? So, photos bring your communications to life and can grab the reader's attention. One of the things that I am going to share with you is that a lot of emails that have been getting a lot of interaction don't have a lot of photos. And that's okay because a lot of people are reading your content on a mobile device. So, text heavy, friendly emails are really what's getting engagement. But even the text heavy emails that I get, a lot of times they'll have a GIF or a GIF, if you want to pronounce it that way, or they'll have a just one image in the body or at the bottom, and they're not overly designed, if that makes sense. But again, make sure all your images are clickable because some people are very click friendly, I guess, for images rather than text. Everything in your email should really get people to be going there. Now, you want people to take action, right? So have a headline. Think about it catching the reader's attention. It should be the largest text in your email, and I'll talk a little bit more about the sizes of it here. It's 22-point text. That's pretty big, right? You want it to be short and sweet. Again, use one of your brand colors so that it pops from everything else, which is really important. Now, the message body, no more than 20 lines of text. That's really important. People, when I work with clients, I'll send them a draft of their email and all they do is add a bunch of lines of text. I'm like, no, that's too many because people are scrolling on mobile. How long do you want them to scroll for, right? So you want to be using 14-point font when you're doing this. And then you only want 1 to 2 font styles at most. I run into this a lot where people try to use the fonts as imagery. It's a little jarring for people. You really don't want them to be distracted from your message. So, make sure that you're only using 1 to 2 font styles at most. So, now that you've got text, now you want to add your call to action. This is hugely important, okay? Every email you send, you should be asking your audience to do something. Okay. Use a button. Buttons are super friendly and you can make it pop with a color. It should click through. It's mobile friendly. They can see it on mobile. The simpler, the better. Okay. When you do things like calls to action. I remember several years ago, we did a study on what was the strongest call to action. Learn more, read more. Those simple click here. Those were the ones that got the most amount of clicks. When you start getting creative and funny, sometimes you're going to lose that action. People don't want to think. We think too much. I was attending a webinar by a gentleman who does, who works at StoryBrand with Donald Miller. And they were saying that when you're writing your website copy, do not make anybody think, because we only have so many thought calories that we can burn during the day, which I loved. And we are always trying to conserve those calories. So don't make anybody think. Okay. Let them know exactly what you want them to do and what they're going to get when they go there. So that's hugely important. But the image, your paragraph, your call to action, they're all supposed to work together to get your audience to take action. And then finally, okay, we're going to go ahead and add footer information. This is the stamp of useful information at the bottom of every email. And the best part about it is that you can set it up in your reusable master template and just forget about it usually when I copy it over, unless something changes in your contact information. But you want your contact information, your website, your hours of operation, social media buttons, things like that. These are the simple and easy to use 7 steps or 7 components of email design. It's really simple to create an email and get something going pretty quickly. So, sorry, I had to change things because I realized I had a crazy little thing popped in there. So how do you write emails that inspire action? Okay, that's really what's important next. Okay, so when you're writing emails, you don't want to be wasting time. You want people to do things. Now, it doesn't have to be buy something. It can be read an article. It can be, register for an event. They can be free things for sure. But you definitely want to write emails and be asking people to do something, right? So let me go ahead and get back to my slideshow here. Sorry, it's all on different screens. There we go. Okay. So when you're trying to inspire your readers to take action, again, you want to look for images. One of the things I'm going to say is that you cannot just Google and search for images. Okay. It's always best if you can use your own photos, but if you can't, there are some free and paid stock photos that are available. If you use Constant Contact, they do have free and paid images inside your Constant Contact account, but you don't want to get in trouble with copyright laws. So unsplash.com is an amazing site for free photos. It's actually owned by Getty Images, and so I'm waiting to see if they take that to paid. But it's a great free resource to get photos that you can use. Pexels.com is another one that I use. They actually have some good video segments too. So if you wanted to add a GIF or GIF, however you pronounce it, or if you want to add some video into social media and things like that, you can do that with Pexels. And then there's Pixabay.com also. Again, a lot of these have advertising on the top and bottom. So just make sure that you're scrolling past anything that says find on iStock or Getty Images or anything like that. And scroll down to that middle chunk of images that are free. But again, it's really going to help you. You don't want anything that looks too staged. I don't know if you guys have seen that image. I want to say it's there's the blonde lady, and then they've got the gentlemen's and all the other people lined up in a V behind her. So it's actually a pretty funny one. But so many people have seen that one. So many insurance agencies and insurance agents use that one. I think I've seen it in every insurance publication out there. But again, it's just something for you to think about as you're working on establishing your brand. Is what do your images look like? Do they have people? Do they not have people? If you can actually stage some of your own brand shoots, I strongly recommend it. I had a brand shoot back in December for my company. And it has paid off huge. There's actually, if you're local here to Detroit, there's a photographer who does brand shoots. She does small ones where you can get 10 to 30-minute shoots at different locations every month. Her name is Melissa Douglas, and the stuff that I've seen one of my clients get from her has been fantastic. So if you have any questions, let me know. Or if there's any other brand photographers that feel free to give them a shout out, because I think it's really important that we figure out ways to take reasonable and affordable photos. You also have your phone that takes a lot of great photos and videos, and they're so powerful nowadays that you don't necessarily need a professional photographer all of the time. Another professional photographer here in the local area, is Scott Lawrence. He does some great headshots. He does Brenda Meller, who we've talked about before. He does all of her branding shoots. And he's done a bunch of headshots for some of my clients, but it's all great, useful stuff. Okay. But avoid using images that look too staged. Look natural and realistic because they tend to work better. And when you download the photo, make sure that it's at least 600 to 800 pixels wide for an email, because you want to get the best quality and you don't want it to be distorted or pixelated when people open it up on a desktop. Okay, so what to say and how to say it. That's what trips most people up. So let's talk a little bit about how to structure your email just to encourage people to take action. If you answer these 3 questions, you'll be well on your way to doing it. So what are you offering? Stop the reader in their tracks. Okay, it's your headline. Get them to pique their interest. Get them to want to read more, okay, of your message in the message body. Then, of course, we move on to the message body. How's this going to help them? What's in it for me as your reader? That is the key. If there's no what's in it for me, then don't send it. Don't write it. Think about something else, right? What's in it for me as your reader? Again, you really only need 3 to 5 sentences, provide just enough information to get them the information that they need to take action or whatever that next step is. Then we have the call to action or CTA. What should they do next? Give them that information. Tell them specifically what it is that you want them to do. So again, what are you offering? What's in it for me? And what do I do next to get it? Just 3 easy components. And if you think about and answer those questions when you're outlining your email, it takes no time to actually write an email. Now, as you're designing your email campaign, it is extremely important to keep it simple. Okay. They need to be short and sweet. So when you use your master template, you only need a picture, a paragraph, and your call to action. That's it. So this is, again, another example from Constant Contact. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the Concord Cheese Shop newsletter. On the left is their old newsletter. Okay. On the right is their refreshed newsletter. It's not perfect, but the information, it's shorter. It's easier to read. It matches his branding. It looks good on a mobile device. Okay. This is going to drive change and drive action. Whereas the one on the left, people don't know what to do. They look at all that copy and they're like, ugh, and they hit delete. Okay. So think about keeping it simple and clean and easy. So before I wrap up, if you have any questions, start putting them in the chat because I know there's a little bit of a delay. But you want to set everything up with the 7 essential elements of design. The header information with the pre-header, which is the second chance at a subject line. So people want to open your email is important. You want branded color and logos, an image to connect your readers. And again, if you don't want to put an image, that's okay. As long as the rest of the branding coordinates, you're fine. Text-only emails are not bad. They're actually getting very high open rates. And engagement, I should say, because open rates don't matter that much anymore. And then you've got the message body to provide details, to provide the information. Of course, your call to action, because every email should have a call to action. And then the footer information, if you're just saying sometimes people get your email, they don't necessarily want to look at the spring models as the example here in this Southside cycling email. But what they want to do is maybe they do maybe they just want to reach out because they need to schedule a repair. Well, they're going to scroll down to the bottom of that email. You're top of mind. They're not going to go anyplace else. They're going to contact you to schedule that repair. But they saw your email. They saw your name and email. Whether they actually take that action or another action, it doesn't matter. Okay? But it reminds people of what they're doing. So hopefully this helps you thinking, gets you thinking about all the different things that you can do for an email campaign and streamlines the process a little bit for you. So again, email marketing is so important. You know, we've talked about content, we've talked about what to do and what to advertise, but we haven't talked a lot about now how to actually go about implementing it. And so that's what I wanted to cover today. I hope this was helpful. I hope this streamlines your process for you. And I'd love to see screenshots of your emails. So if you have a email that you're sending or have sent recently, go ahead and drop a picture either in the chat or in our Facebook community. We'd love to see what you're doing and see how we can help drive more traffic, and love to hear about the results that you're getting. Well, if there aren't any questions, because it doesn't look like there's any questions, I want to thank you for tuning in either to the live or the replay. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. Also, there's the Constant Contact referral link that we put in the chat. If you have any questions about that, let me know. I'm always happy to help you get set up because I do think that email marketing is essential for every business out there. I haven't figured out anybody that doesn't need email marketing yet. All right. Thanks again for tuning in and have a great rest of your week and weekend. See you next week.